I want to talk about those acquisitions though, because it always baffles me. So early on, no one knew he was acquiring these properties. He kind of did it secretly, right? Like you as the city attorney are finding out like, oh, like this
Yeah, we
is
didn't know at that time.
at
But
that
again,
time.
yeah.
But when you got there, right, and you have a directive as the general counsel to help acquire these properties, how do you balance how do you not let these other property owners know that you're trying to chase down 50 acres?
Sure.
Because wouldn't they go, oh, you want my property? Well, now you're going to pay X.
Sure, and absolutely. And again, I think by the time I got there, the word was already out.
Right.
It was Jeff. So that was some of the early acquisitions that they made, like for example, where the medical school is now, and a little bit to the north of that. Those were done through the Colorado entity and a little bit quietly.
Right.
But by the time I got involved and we were starting to acquire the property just across the street from the arena and the brewery and especially the flour mill and others properties, I mean, everybody knew who it was.
Cat was out of the
Yeah,
bag.
cat was out of the bag. So that was a different story. But yeah, at the time that they were able to get sort of and again, he had those two key parcels originally that came with the team. Then he started slowly acquiring other properties. And so,
so was it like, does reason take precedent and you're trying to negotiate these deals through a broader vision of the community? Because I would imagine you could run into some pushback with some of those property owners if they're like, oh, like you want this part, that's kind of a challenge,
of
right?
course. And there were a couple that happened with,
Yeah.
but again, it wasn't, we didn't have a gun to our head that we had to get something done
Right.
today, and
Right.
we were still creating the vision. Some of the key players didn't come on board until as late as like 2016. I got there in 2013. So, they had already spent a couple of years on land acquisition. We spent a lot of time acquiring the rights to, what's now Channelside Bay Plaza and the rights to operate the parking garage and the Garrison lot. So there was a lot of deals. The deal to ultimately acquire the flour mill, the Arden Mills property, took, like when I first got there in 2013, they told me that one of our top priorities is to acquire the rights to this Cumberland connection right at Meridian, because there was
Make sure to talk into this.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
There was the Cumberland connection was one of the key things that we needed for the project, and Arden Mills was not interested in really just giving that connection over because they had a rail line, and
Right.
So it became,
And then it was like, hey, how about we buy it type thing?
and then the city, how about you use eminent domain to help us acquire this crossing? And the mayor was supportive, but they were a little bit unsure. And so we said, there's different ways to do eminent domain. There's one way where the government can use what they call a quick take process, where you say this is for a public purpose. You get the judge to approve it very quickly, and then you have a second phase.
That sounds like it would upset a few
Second
people.
phase, which you end up determining what the value is.
Yeah.
But so you've already acquired it, and you could end up getting hit for. So the reason the mayor didn't want to do that, he was willing, he was very supportive, but he didn't want to leave it out to a $50 million judgment or something. So
Right.
he said, we're going to start this eminent domain, but we're not going to do it as a quick take. So we had multiple negotiations over the years, and we ultimately came to a deal that
With
got
the
everything.
family, right? And sold or who was it?
No,
owned
that
by?
was the owner. It was the owners of the Arden Mills property, ConAgra.
Wasn't that a family that had owned it for like 40 years plus? Hadn't they owned
It
that
wasn't a
property?
family. It was a corporation.
It was a
They had-
corporation.
they had
Maybe
the
I'm thinking of
controls.
something. I'm probably thinking
There was
of,
other properties that they bought. I mean, they bought a number of properties
Right.
from.
I'm thinking of something else
from
then.
different families. But there was,
but an absolute key.
yeah, it was a
piece
key.
to
But we
Water
didn't get
Street.
that done till I think it was 2018 before we finally got that done.
Wow. So that
You
was
know, so
worked
it
on
took-
for
It
years
was worked
and
on
years
for
and
years
years.
and years, and we
And
had
I-
multiple trips and multiple, and again, close coordination with the city, the port, the Expressway Authority, our partners. But it took a long time. But it was
Yeah.
obviously a key acquisition, and now that's where the infrastructure for the next phase of the project is being laid right now. But that Cumberland connection is an important connection between the
Game changer.
between the Channel
truthfully.
District
Yeah.
and downtown, and it takes traffic off Channelside, which is what we're trying to do to make that a little bit more pedestrian friendly.
Well, I think it's fantastic for Water Street, of course, to own that property. That's a given. But I think even more importantly, it connected Channelside to downtown.
Yep.
Channelside felt so closed off before that intersection opened.
Uh-huh.
If you lived in Channelside, like I lived there in
Yep.
17 and 18, you had to walk all the way
Right.
south,
Yeah.
right? all the way to Channelside Drive, where the Riverwalk entrance
Yep.
used to be,
Yep.
or you had to go up north on, I guess it would be Jackson or Kennedy. It was a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
really.
Oh,
You
totally.
felt very insulated there.
Yeah.
Now it's much more
Yeah,
open.
that was clearly everybody.
Now they're going to open Whiting in
Yeah,
the future,
Whiting,
which
yep.
will be great, which will be at the north side of this the mill parcel, which
Yep.
is awesome. So it's all kind of coming together. And I think it's super cool too. Water Street saved 2 of those flour mills.
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan is.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to create something cool there.
Something, some art installation, whatever that may
Yeah,
be.
I'm sure. I don't know the details of today, but so I know that the idea was to keep that and do something cool there in the next phase.
Fantastic. So you're acquiring these properties. You end up with how many acres is Water Street? 50,
Yeah,
40?
it's 56 acres, I think.
56.
But part of that's the Sparkman property that's technically owned by the port, but it's ground leased to SBP. There's the arena that's owned by the county. So there's there's the medical school now, which is owned by the state. But that's all part of the project.
Hey guys, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, click right here. Make sure to subscribe by clicking right here. Thank you for watching.